Oh no! Oh look, there's another one. Oh, there's another one too. Ah, explosions everywhere. What is up, everybody? Random Random Man here. Happy Easter, happy Passover, by the way. Happy whatever you guys are celebrating during this time of year. Just happy spring, as at least near where I live, the weather is getting nicer. Also, long time no movie review, but I am back to bring you my review for The Fate of the Furious. Now, the plot basically follows Dominic Toretto, played by Vin Diesel, who, after settling down with his wife Letty, played by Michelle Rodriguez, runs into the notorious cyber terrorist known as Cypher, played by Charlize Theron, who coerces him to work for her, which Dom does, and in turn makes Dom turn against his team/family. Going into this movie, I was both hesitant but also fairly excited to see it because I am a fan of this series. I think the first four are not that good in retrospect. They're not bad movies by any means, but they aren't very special until Fast 5, which I feel is when the series fully embraced itself and what it wanted to be. Heist movies with ridiculous cars and action just going all over the place. Tons of explosions too. The sixth movie I also really liked. Furious 7 is my personal favorite of this series thus far, as I felt it had the most thrilling action, but also was a beautiful send-off to one of its fallen leads, Paul Walker. It would have been the perfect finale to this series as a whole, but no, we got another one of these things. Starting out with the performances, the best part of this franchise, aside from the redonkulous action, is that this multiculturally diverse group of actors really have amazing chemistry with one another. Of course, we do have Vin Diesel as Dom. A lot on his plate this time around, given how he does betray his family, but he still holds his own throughout. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, this series did get a lot better with him being in Fast 5. He bounces off of Jason Statham, who returns in this entry after being the villain in Furious 7. A lot of the insults that he has with The Rock are just hilarious to see. Michelle Rodriguez, she is badass. Tyrese Gibson, he's the reluctant member of the group, very much pointing out how just insane a lot of the things that these guys have to do really are. Chris Ludacris Bridges, he's also funny along with Gibson. Natalie Emanuel also returns from Furious 7. Nice to have her back. Kurt Russell also returns from Furious 7, as well as Mr. Nobody. Even Helen Mirren comes out to play for this entry. Just the cast all together really brings a lot of the enjoyment for this series for me. The writing here, as yes, like I mentioned before with the brief synopsis, does involve Dom turning against his family after getting seduced and given a pretty compelling reason to do so by Cypher, played by Charlize Theron, which brings me to her. Theron does a really formidable job in actually being a threatening villain. She's mostly a behind-the-scenes kind of villain, and when we do get the motivation as to why Dom has turned against this team, at first I was scratching my head into thinking, wait, what? But then as the scene carries out, I'm like, oh. The effectiveness of this twist depends on how much you've been paying attention and been rooted to this franchise up until now, as yes, there is still a sense of continuity of what's been happening in the past, but that led to an issue in that the tones that this film had really clashed in an uneven manner. The scenes between Dom and Cypher are really self-serious that, in comparison to the rest of the movie being so self-aware with its action sequences and whatever else it had to offer, it was really jarring to say the least. I did feel the absence of Walker's character Brian throughout, and an extension of that, Mia, played by Jordana Brewster, who is his wife and Dom's sister. I know the filmmakers were trying to rectify that issue with having a new character played by Scott Eastwood added into this franchise. He is a character that works for Kurt Russell's Mr. Nobody, and I didn't feel like his addition was necessary. I didn't find him that compelling at all. He was just annoying, frankly, and even the characters addressed that. But this didn't stop the Fate of the Furious in delivering what a lot of us come to these movies for, the awesome action. The first 10 minutes of this movie gave us a nice throwback to Race Wars that the first movie introduced this whole series to, with Dom and Letty having their honeymoon in Cuba. Really gorgeously shot. Then of course we do have the sequence in New York with remote controlled cars chasing after everybody. We have the submarine chase in Russia on ice. This series really upped its scale. F. Gary Gray did a solid job directing this film. Even with all of the satisfying adrenaline-filled rushes, the film's pacing suffered a bit because of it. It has around the same length as Furious 7, 2 hours and 15 minutes, yet the Fate of the Furious felt longer than that at certain points. The middle felt like it dragged at times, and the final action sequence in Russia with that submarine did feel like it ran a bit too long, with it running for about the last 40 minutes of the movie, I believe. Yet, I still felt the movie ran sufficiently enough. You wouldn't expect some of these characters even to be involved in trying to stop cyber terrorism at a global level, but that's the beauty of this franchise. Just going to this movie for what you expect, a lot of action, a lot of family reinforcement. There is even a nice tribute to Walker's character Brian within this film. I feel that 5, 6, and 7 are stronger films within this franchise, but I did enjoy the Fate of the Furious more than the first 4 entries in this series. So it's about in the middle of this franchise overall to me, but that still made for something supremely entertaining. If you have been a fan of this franchise like I have, you will definitely have a good time watching this latest entry. If you have not liked any of the previous entries or have never seen any one of these films and you don't know what you're getting into, stay away! Stay away at all costs, as this movie is not going to revert you to being a fan. As for me, and since I knew what I was expecting and it did give me what I wanted, I recommend it. My final verdict for the Fate of the Furious is 3.5 out of 5 stars. Thank you all, as always, for watching. Be sure to like this video, comment on what you thought of The Fate of the Furious, subscribe to my channel for more, and I'll catch you on the next movie review.